LeBron James' son is an NBA athlete. I don't think right now, currently, he's quite an NBA player. I think they would draft him, send him to the G League, give him a year. And Mick Cronin said the other day, the UCLA coach, he's not as quick or as fast as he was pre-cardiac arrest. He's not quite the player. But I've watched him enough, seen his hops, seen his handles. He got a beautiful jumper. Got a beautiful looking
Right.
jumper. I like his jumper
It
better.
looks good. His shooting percentage is not good, but it doesn't look like there's a problem with it. I agree with you there.
No, in fact, I like it better than his dad's. I think his shooting is very natural. Bigger players don't yet generally, Larry Bird,
Sure.
KD, the exception. A lot of times the 6'4" guys got the perfect jumper, the perfect look, the perfect hand size. But here's the thing, and I don't know how necessarily to explain this, is that this is the worst draft, maybe as bad as the Anthony Bennett draft. So as more mothers are telling their kids, do not play football, more mothers. This is in Los Angeles. I have a buddy that lives in Brentwood. He's like, I'm like an outcast for letting my kids play tackle football.
I was at sidebar to it. I was at a card game with some Hollywood and finance folks. Low stakes for their standards for sure, else I wouldn't have been able to play in it. And there was a very, very smart guy there who had enough money that when I was like, how do I know this name? I didn't know who he was at the time, but I was like, I know this name. So after I left the card game, I Googled his name and I was like, oh, you almost bought this baseball team like 6 years ago. I won't say but he said that like he was a very sharp guy. And he was like, yeah, I don't think football should be legal under 18 years old. And I didn't agree with him, but I'm just echoing your point that there are a lot of people that are not letting their kids even consider playing tackle football. Particularly, I bet it skews higher income and things like that. But go ahead, as you were saying about Bronny.
Yet, you can get Brock Purdy in the final pick. Yeah. Half the league is undrafted. Kurt Warner, Tony Romo undrafted. The NBA is a global game, and people are suggesting there are not 3 surefire NBA starters in this draft. Question. There's 2 rounds. There's almost no players after the 12th pick. It's a cheaper sport to play. Hockey and football are expensive. It's a global sport. Is that saying that the NBA is so good it's impossible to make it? Is it saying our domestic culture is broken and our players are distracted and not skilled enough? How in the world could you have a global sport? We don't have a shortage of great baseball players, great hockey players. We're having drafts. Well, like every third draft is talentless.
Yeah, but I think it's actually more the first than the second because the league is more talented now than at any point in my lifetime. I think it is less that, oh my God, there's not good players. It's that the bar for being considered a good player these days is so much higher than it once was. And your pal Bill Simmons talks about this a lot, but like the guys who are now 9th men, not that long ago would be good starters. Good. And if you look at some teams that we thought of as very good teams 20 years ago and look at who they had after their top 4 guys, it's a bunch of, And so that it's an argument for expansion. It's an argument for adding teams to the league because the talent level right now is so high. Like you look at the Western Conference in the NBA right now, we have, as we record this, the Lakers and the Warriors are the 9 and the 10 seeds.
It's insane.
And keep in mind, so next year, so think about the Western Conference and the NBA next year, and then I want to circle back to Bronny for a moment. So Minnesota is not going to be worse. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be the 1 seed, but it's not like all of a sudden Minnesota is going to go away. I'm just going to go down the standings. Denver is here to stay. Oklahoma City's only getting better. The Clippers maybe take a step back, but if they bring everyone back, why would they not maintain about where they are? Dallas seems to have figured out the Luka Kyrie thing. They're
even playing defense.
Luka's a top 3 player in the league, hands down. They're fine. Phoenix, okay, so Phoenix could go backwards because of the age of their guys, but it's not like they're going to be a disaster. New Orleans is a young team. Sacramento is a young team. The Lakers, the Warriors. And then you have Memphis with Ja coming back. The Wemby is coming for everybody. And Houston was an exciting team. That's 13 teams. It's 15 teams in the conference. So there's just the teams are so talented and so loaded. I think that's about the draft. I want to defend the Bronny thing for a minute, if I could.
Sure.
So what if this is... Can everyone, even the biggest LeBron James critics, acknowledge the guy's all-time basketball IQ-wise? Can we at least acknowledge that the guy understands how the game is played and understands the NBA as well as anybody ever has? Okay.
Yeah.
For folks arguing, oh my gosh, LeBron's putting his finger on the scale. He shouldn't. Why would he do it? He's hurting his son in the long run. He's undercutting it. I don't know that this is the math LeBron is doing, but it's just an idea. What if LeBron's thought process is, on this current trajectory, in today's college basketball climate, my kid is not going to get the development and improvement that he needs over the next 3 years to one day be an NBA player. However, if I do put my finger on the scale and get a team to be at least somewhat invested in his development, then by the time I'm gone, he will be good enough to be a legitimate stand on his own 2 feet NBA player. And so not that dissimilar from how Seth Curry went undrafted and then bounced around the G League for 2 years, getting multiple chances, I happen to believe, in part because of who his brother is. And then through that development, now he's a legitimate, really good NBA player. Would that have happened if he didn't get those opportunities that I think he probably got because of who his brother was? No. Do I think that is fair? I don't know. Define fair. Is it absolutely what I think I would do if I were in LeBron's place? Am I like, of course. If I can help my kid achieve his dream and he might not be able to without my help, of course I'm going to. And folks whining about it, like people in the NBA sell second round picks for $2 million. These are not like the hottest commodities. Like, oh my God, you're going to waste a second round pick. Teams throw them in willy-nilly. Teams sell them. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, what's going to hurt Bronny is he's 6'2". And I know Mannix and Shams and other people have said he's an NBA level defender. It's just hard to be a great defender in this league at that size. I'm not saying he can't be. But I don't think LeBron is being unfair to anybody in this circumstance whatsoever.
I think my example that makes me laugh the most is every time you're driving and you see a plumbing truck, it always says Johnson and Sons.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we can talk about it being problematic, but we've only had 46, 47 presidents in this country. One were father and son. The other one were uncle and nephew. Like, even up to presidential level of this country, there's nepotism. The NFL and NBA front offices and coaching staffs are rife with it. Those last names all being the same are not a goddamn coincidence. It is...
precious love, the stars fell out. Love longing for our union then. Love my fragrance so captivating. You close to me, I lose myself. Never thought I would find love like this. Never thought I would be waiting. Move your body, let your spirit soar. Ella, your atom, move your body. Oh, love my melody.